Oh, good evening. This is Money Duck, and it is August 3rd, 2024. And we're going to go through Nasdaq here, and then later I'll go through other instruments as well. But I want to kind of show you what we do over the weekend. So, over the weekend, it's time to clean your charts. During the week, we day trade. We're looking at a 4 hour, 1 hour, and 15 minute for our trend analysis, basically our charting analysis. We look to draw an upper trend line and a lower trend line. So an uptrend line, downtrend line, one above, one below. And then we also will come in and look for zones to trade. So we know that, you can see where NASDAQ is right now. Come Sunday night, Monday, it's guess what? It could move sideways or it's going to go one or two ways, up or down. So we look for a zone below that where the price currently is for a target. And then we actually look for zones up above for a target as well. So we don't really know which way it's going to go. What we do is try and look for targets as it goes. So before it starts moving, and then we look to jump in based on higher highs, higher lows, to jump in longer short. So basically, here, if you're on TradingView, what I like to do is come in over the weekend, hit this trash can over here. And when you hit it, it'll come up and say remove X amount of drawings. Hit that. That cleans up your whole entire chart. I don't like to leave anything on my chart. I like a full, fresh view. So we can see that, NASDAQ has been in an uptrend. We know that it's been making higher highs, over the past couple months. So basically, our sentiment is to trade long. However, and be bearish in the market. However, we see these big swings back. So as we're day trading, we like to take advantage of those and get in short and capture part of that market as well. So basically, we'll go out to a 4 hour chart, clean it off. And then what I like to do is pull in more data. So we have the whole chart, zoomed in, and we see that it's been in an uptrend. Well, what I want to do is we see this swing here. Well, I don't know if that's what this swing is back here or not. So I like to come over and see, and it clearly was a big bearish move here with nice swings. So it looks like this is the bottom. This is the bottom or turning point, a nice double, triple bottom, whatever you want to call it. If I was on a daily chart, it would look more like a double bottom. So call it what you will. This is the turning point in my chart. So I'm considering this point here to be my lows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in a trend line and start it down here off this candle body. And then I'm going to attach it here and see where it goes. See if we're still above that. Okay. So I take the trend line tool, come in and pick the bottom of the candle, come in here and pick the bottom of the candle. Now I've got the magnet feature on, and I like to try and get it to attach to a candle. I see there it's not including the bottom of the candles. I like to look over and say, yes, we are above that trend line right now. So that's going to be a valid uptrend line. What I want to do is, and if you hold your control key down, you can scroll your mouse and just zoom into that point. So I can see that I need to take this and come down and attach it to the bottom of that candle. And then we'll zoom back. I need to do the same over here to this point, zoom in and attach that. Now that's going to be my outer uptrend line, and zoom it back to our full view, and that's what it looks like. Again, this was our turning point in the market. So that is going to be our uptrend line. If you have templates already made up, you can go ahead and pop one of those on as well. So that is our outer uptrend line, and we see basically we're pulling down to that level. In order to find a downtrend line, like I said, we've been making all-time highs, so there isn't really one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and we're going to draw a downtrend line. Now, you can also see a low in here. So in order to see if that's still valid, if you want, you could take your trend. I could see visually that if I draw a trend line from this low to this low, it's going to come up through here, and we've already broken that. So if you want, you could draw one from this point to this point, and you could say, okay, we've actually broken through that trend line. Now, if you want to leave it on your chart, go ahead and leave it on your chart. We're going to zoom in. Yes, that's attached to candle bottom. We'll come over here. We'll zoom this one in, and it looks like this one's off a little. So we'll come in and attach it here. If I can get to that low point. And it's kind of hard to get this on there unless you blow the candles up. I'm just trying to get to stop there for a second. I'm going to have to draw and zoom it in even more, guys. So there we go. So it's easier if you zoom in. You can see how it comes down and attaches a little easier. Okay. So I could draw that in, go back out and look at the whole picture. We can again see that that's already broken. So why would you leave that on your chart? You would leave that on your chart to see if we get a pullback to that area, pull back and test. So as we zoom in on the 4-hour chart, we could see that, we had a nice powerful move through, and it may pull back to test the back side of that. Also to test this low point. So we have a definite low point here on the 4-hour time frame where only the wicks went through. You can come in and I like using this tool here, the horizontal ray, and just come in and mark that low. And as you look at that, basically it may pull back to test that. Now, again, we're looking at how to set up for next week, Sunday night next week. So I could totally see this pulling back up here to test the backside of this uptrend line, as well as the underside of this. So basically this line here, and you can pull it on back if you want, but basically that line there is was a support level here, here, and basically you can see it pulling back to that area. So that's how it looks on the 4-hour, overall. Okay. Now, once we were done with the 4-hour, and I'm not drawing any zones yet, we would come in and look for any nice big bounces on the 4-hour. Okay. What we're looking for, again, is a zone above. We like to mark a zone above and below where the pair is. Okay, so I can come back and say, well, here was a nice bounce. However, we're already below that level. So I need to look down in this level here and find a place to mark a zone. And that's going to be our target zone as this falls. Okay, so let's zoom in on that one little area. And I could see a few that I want to see. We have a nice big bounce here, almost, a little bit lower, bounce here. What I like to do is come in and look for a low of a nice swing. Okay. That's what we have here. We have a nice downward move here, a nice start to the swing back up. So this is a definite turning point. It's also our point B on our uptrend line. So this would be a good area to draw a zone off of. Now we're on the 4-hour time frame still. So what I like to do is take this swing area, and we're going to look at the wicks. And I could see that during this nice big downward move, this 4-hour candle right here, we have a nice wick on that. Okay, so that is our turning point. So what I like to do is come in with the box tool. You can set up templates on it if you want. Come in, draw a rectangle off of the wick bottom to the bottom of the candle. Okay, and we pull that up and just mark it. Now you can color these if you want, you can label, but that was a turning point. So that was a buy area. So what we're going to do is we're going to label that and look at that as a buy zone. So if we look at our templates, what happened to my chart, guys? It just switched on me. So let me go back. There's that zone. And we're gonna put buy zone on there. And you can leave the buy zone label if you want. You could take it off. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna just take it off because it's way back here into this. So now as we look back, that is our target that we're going to. And we have this outer uptrend line here as well. So that's kind of like a double target, of us for support. So we could totally see it going down to that level. Now, if you want to mark some mid zones, what I like to do again is we're looking at highs and lows. I could see this high swing in here. We had definite big move off that up to it. This one kind of came up to it, pulled down. Then we finally hit that mark, came down, and then finally broke it with a nice bullish candle there. So I'm going to look for this area as kind of my mid target. So let's zoom back in. Again, we use wicks, wick high low. I could see that's a small mid zone. I like a little bigger mid zone. So if I went and just drew it from, say, like the top of the wick down to here, the start of the doji candle, that's a big zone. So it really depends on what you like as a zone. How big of a zone do you like? I could see that if we use the top of this wick right here, I can kind of see that we floated above it here. Okay. So if you come down and look, and I'll just draw a line tool just for reference, but if you come down and draw that, you can see that once it broke it here with this big bullish candle, kind of tested it, stayed above it, and then moved on. So that is definitely a good place to mark for our zone. It really depends on you as to how you draw your zone. There's no 100% way to do this. So you could draw your box from, say, the top of this candle to that wick top and call that your zone. You could say the bottom of this, green candle, which is also over here, these candles to the wick top is a zone. Or you could totally use this whole candle, basically from the body of the candle up to the top of that doji candle, and say that is my zone. That's what I'm going to use. So again, grab that box tool, come in. I'm going to use the body of the candle, go to the top, and it's colored green by default because we put this one green. So if we click on template, I can call that my mid zone. And again, if you don't want the text on there, click that off. So that's going to be our mid zone. So now let's step back out and look at that and pull the chart over. So you can clearly see that is, still below us, but that may be an area it turns at. Now, guys, we had a nice bearish move. So we typically know that what happens typically in the market, since it moves in waves, is it's going to pull back to test both the bottom side of this trend line and the bottom side of what we draw here as a support and resistance level. Okay. So if you want, you can label this resistance. And because what you see in the market is old support becoming resistance, and that's what we look for. So this was a support level here, kind of pulled through a little bit here, but then bounced pretty much off of it with the candle bodies. So that was support over here. Now that we've broken it, we look for the pair to pull back and that to become actually a resistance level for us to bounce on. So those are our bounce areas for short. And then what we want to do is look for a zone to sell off of if it pulls back up, because we need targets. We know that Sunday night, Monday, when the market opens on Sunday night, the pair may be sideways for a while, but it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to move up or down. Okay. So we're not trying to predict which way it's going to move. What we're trying to do is get in on the action. So we can see that we have a couple candle wicks up here. And what I'm going to do is come in and grab the trend line tool once again and click it to the top of this. I'm on a 4-hour time frame, so yes, I include wicks. And you'll see that I drew the trend line. Okay, this down trend line, basically just drew it off of, sorry, I colored the wrong thing there. We need to color the line. So basically, I drew this trend line from 2 points. There's my point A, there's my point B. And we see that last time it pulled up, it bounced off this previous low. It pulled right back up. And guess what? It just hit the backside, the underside of that downtrend line. So that is our valid downtrend line. If you've got templates set up, you can come in, select a template, and we're going to call this our downtrend line, and it'll have a label on it. So those are our outer lines. We need to find a zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and look above where we're at. I already have this labeled as a resistance area it might bounce on. We also have that uptrend line there, so we know that it could come back to test that. So what we're going to do for a zone is I'm going to come and draw one up here. Now, we really don't have a good wick level. We have a wick here, you know, that we could see that we could start at the top of that, but we had a couple candle bodies close here. So what I like to do is, yes, I'm going to use that entire wick there, and just know that it might pull back up into that zone or mid zone. So I have mid zones marked on mine. So what I'm going to do is hit the top of this wick, go down the bottom of this wick, and we're going to pull that up, and we're going to do that as our sell zone, that if it pulls to that level, we expect that it might bounce off that. So I have a midline in mind. I do suggest popping that midline in there. The reason I like it is you'll see that if you had it back over here, once this red candle formed, then we had the bullish side of the market take over and it pulled back up to that midline level before moving on. So as a whole entire chart, that's what we're looking at. So we actually have our good sell zone, buy zone. Those are our targets we think it's going to, because right now, as we look at this chart, we think, man, we've had a good sell off on it, bear side of the market, and we know that it may pull back up to this level. And then if it breaks back over these two lines, well, then it may pull back up to this trend line. If it breaks that trend line, then pull back up to that zone. Okay, those are the larger swings. So that's our 4 hour. What we need to do then is drop down to a 60-minute. And what we're going to do is just see what it looks like. We already have our zones marked. We're not changing those. We're not adding those. Those are our targets. 60-minute, again, nice downward sweep on that. And then we go down to a 15-minute. We can see that once it broke that level, again, that's our resistance level, the back of that trend line. And that's why you want to label them and color them. We have that marked as green because on the 4 hour chart, you can see it's in an upswing. It kind of looks flat now. So that's our chart overall. And then ultimately, we'd be on a 3 minute to take an entry. So as far as a downtrend line here, you could draw one from here to here. I don't like pushing the lines out. So you can always find a tool, a trend following tool, such as a moving average or fractals, and that gives you more of a swing move. Some people will come in here to this high and draw a trend line from there to there, see where it falls up, and it looks like we're down under that. So right now, those guys are planning on trading it short. So right now, we're in a bearish move until the market gives us higher highs, higher lows. So we're looking at these individual swings on a 3 minute is what we dialed to. And we're looking at these individual swings and we're looking for the higher highs and higher lows. So that's my overall markup on the Nasdaq. And then we just have to kind of sit here till Sunday night to trade. But that's what your chart should look like. And then again, we're getting ready and we'll be down on a 3 minute to take the entries. And then you just want to do the same thing on each instrument that you're looking at trading. Again, this is something that you should do on a Saturday or Sunday. Clean off everything in your charts. Start with a fresh view. Get in there, draw these charts on a 4 hour, and then you can dial it down to a 60-minute and a 15 to see what's happening. More trend analysis that way, or market analysis, and then go down to a 3 or 5 to take your trade. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Give me a like and follow if you're here on YouTube watching the video. Thank you. Have a good day.